Imagine a cage so perfect. You forget it's a cage. It rewards you. It entertains you. It praises you for following the rules. Rules you never questioned. Rules you never chose. Rules that feel like freedom because everyone around you follows them too. But something inside you knows. You're shrinking. Numbing. Settling. Not because you're lazy, but because you were trained to mistake comfort for success. And safety for self-worth. This isn't a video about motivation. It's a video about liberation. From the invisible trap that keeps you small, obedient, and average. You didn't begin as an individual. You began as someone's child. In someone else's house. Living under someone else's rules. Before you ever had a name of your own. You were already being taught how to belong. Belonging wasn't a choice. It was survival. As a child, you needed acceptance, not just emotionally, but biologically. Rejection wasn't uncomfortable. It was dangerous. So you learned to mimic. To obey. To smile on cue. To avoid punishment and earn praise. Every frown from an adult. Every no when you reached too far. Every laugh when you got something wrong. Was a small signal. Shrink. Conform. Blend in. This is where it starts, the shaping of the average. School only sharpened the process. It didn't ask, "Who are you?" It asked, "Can you sit still? Can you memorize? Can you repeat?" And if you did, you were rewarded. Not for thinking, but for obeying. That's the part no one admits. We praise the obedient and punish the original. Nietzsche called this herd morality. The values designed not to elevate individuals, but to protect the comfort of the group. In the herd, goodness means not standing out. Not questioning. Not changing the order. Even in adulthood, the same rules apply, they just wear better clothes. Social media likes. Professional etiquette. Political correctness. Empty small talk. All carefully designed to keep you predictable and pleasing. But here's the cost. Every time you trade truth for acceptance, you lose a part of yourself. And no one claps for that loss, because they lost theirs too. So they welcome you into a tribe of people who've forgotten they had a choice. There's a reason most people stay average. And it's not because they're incapable. It's because they've been seduced. Not by failure, but by just enough success to stop them from growing. The average path is full of praise. It promises you respect, stability, comfort. Why take the risk, it says, when you already have a life people envy? But here's what it doesn't tell you. The cost of safety is aliveness. The cost of fitting in is never knowing who you could have become had you dared to break away. Nietzsche warned us. The greatest danger is not chaos. It's comfort. Because comfort doesn't challenge you. It flatters you. It tells you you've made it, even when you haven't moved in years. The system will never ask you to evolve. It will ask you to comply, to deliver, to perform just enough to be useful. And in return, it offers applause, likes, bonuses, quiet approval. You'll call it success, but it's sedation, a slow numbing of your edge, of your fire, of your soul. And eventually, you forget that you ever wanted more. You don't feel lost. You feel stable. But stability isn't freedom. It's the reward you get for staying in place. The system doesn't need you to be you. It just needs you to be functional, replaceable, predictable. So from the very beginning, you're taught to shave off the edges. Don't be too loud. Don't be too intense. Don't ask too many questions. Blend. Adapt. Fit. Smile. And if you don't, you're called difficult, strange, disruptive, weird. You start to curate yourself, filter your thoughts, mute your instincts. Not because it's easier, but because it's safer. We don't just fear rejection. We fear visibility. Because visibility makes you a target. To be seen is to be judged. To be known is to risk exile. And so, we fracture. We build a mask that fits the world. And bury the one that fits us. You become what others will accept. And slowly forget the version of you that would have scared them. Nietzsche called it the slave morality. The inner voice that submits, flatters, obeys. Because it's afraid of its own strength. Real expression is rebellion. And rebellion is punished. But here's the tragedy. When you bury the parts of you that don't fit in, you're not protecting yourself. You're betraying yourself. We talk about normal like it's truth. As if it's nature. As if it just exists. But normal isn't a fact. It's a design. A boundary line. Drawn in chalk by those who fear what's outside it. And once it's drawn, society begins to worship it. You're told to think like this. Dress like this. Love like this. Live like this. And if you stray too far, you're labeled. Normal becomes a shield for the crowd. And a weapon against the different. It makes mediocrity feel safe. And greatness feel threatening. Nietzsche warned us. When the herd rules, what is rare becomes rejected. And what is average becomes divine. In this world, the ambitious are arrogant. The different are dangerous. The dreamers are delusional. So you begin to self-regulate. You shrink your ideas. You sand down your voice. You trade vividness for palatability. Not because you want to, but because you don't want to be cast out. Normal becomes the border fence. That keeps the herd from thinking beyond the field. And once you accept it, you become a guardian of the fence yourself. Because here's the secret. Those who worship normal are terrified of freedom. From a young age, you were told the same comforting lie. You can be anything. All you need is to believe. But belief doesn't build mountains. Discipline does. Sacrifice does. Uncomfortable truth does. The idea that everyone is born with equal potential is beautiful. And it's also dangerous. Because when you fail to reach greatness, you don't blame the system. You blame yourself. You think, I just didn't try hard enough. I must be broken. I'm the problem. But maybe the truth is simpler. Maybe your potential wasn't nurtured. Maybe you were never meant to follow that path at all. Nietzsche didn't believe in equal potential. He believed in self-overcoming. The brutal honesty of knowing your nature. And building on it with blood, sweat, and solitude. Not fantasy. Not slogans. Not equality masquerading as encouragement. The system tells you, everyone's a genius. Everyone's a leader. Everyone matters equally. Because if everyone's special, then no one is. And the people in power stay comfortable. Greatness is rare. Excellence is costly. And most people won't pay the price. The myth of equal potential isn't just wrong. It's a trap. It keeps you chasing borrowed dreams. It keeps you comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20. It keeps you paralyzed by shame instead of propelled by clarity. The truth? You're not meant to be everything. You're meant to become you. Unapologetically. Uncomfortably. Unmistakably. Comfort is the most seductive drug on earth. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't warn you. It doesn't kill you quickly. It just keeps you still. Everywhere you turn, you're offered ease. Instant food. One-click answers. Dopamine on demand. Entertainment without effort. The world is designed not to challenge you, but to pacify you. Not to awaken your genius, but to keep it asleep. And the longer you stay in this padded world, the more pain it takes to leave it. Because ease shrinks your threshold for difficulty. And soon, even small effort feels like suffering. This is not an accident. It's not a glitch. It's a system. A system that knows. The more comfort you consume, the less capable you become. Nietzsche believed that suffering was not the enemy, but the price of becoming. That without resistance, we forget we're even alive. But in the comfort conspiracy, every rough edge is padded, every hardship outsourced, every silence filled. So you stop exploring. You stop building. You stop daring. Not because you're weak, but because you've been taught that discomfort is a problem instead of a portal. They call it peace, but it's sedation. They call it luxury, but it's paralysis. They call it freedom, but it's a cage with velvet bars. And the longer you stay inside it, the more freedom starts to feel uncomfortable. You begin to mistake effort for pain, and stillness for peace, and average for enough. But nothing worth becoming was ever born in comfort. The sword is forged in fire, not in warm baths. You weren't born average. You were trained to be. From childhood, the world doesn't ask what you could become. It asks, can you follow instructions? Can you sit still? Can you fit in? Aspiration is dangerous to systems that want predictability. So they don't crush it. They numb it. You learn that getting an A matters more than asking why. That memorizing the right answer is better than questioning the question. Slowly, dreaming becomes naive. Curiosity becomes distraction. And those who dare to want more are labeled as too much. By the time you reach adulthood, you've been trained to aim small, to pick from the pre-approved list. Job, mortgage, marriage, retirement. Repeat. And if you want something bigger, something yours, they'll say, it's too risky. Be realistic. Don't get ahead of yourself. Nietzsche wrote, man is something to be surpassed. But today, we celebrate staying the same. Growth makes others uncomfortable. So you're encouraged to stagnate politely. And what kills aspiration most isn't failure. It's comfort disguised as success. Good job. Nice salary. Stable life. You scroll past excellence on your phone. You consume greatness like content. But rarely ask, what would it take to live it? Aspiration has become a performance. We pretend to chase it. We post about it. We buy books about it. But we don't suffer for it. And anything we don't suffer for, we never become. The system doesn't fear your potential. It fears you acting on it. Because the moment you remember how to want, really want, You become harder to control. So they distract you. With ease. With shame. With noise. They tell you, dreams are for the few. Not everyone makes it. Don't waste your time. But here's the truth. Aspiration is not a guarantee of success. It's the refusal to decay quietly. And once you remember how to want with your whole soul, you'll see it. The death of aspiration was never natural. It was engineered. And now that you've seen it, you get to choose. To sleep again. Or to climb. You like to think you make decisions. That your beliefs are yours. That your fears are rational. But look closer, and you'll find the herd. The herd doesn't use chains. It uses glances. Shame. Approval. It teaches you what to fear. And what to love. Nietzsche warned us. Morality, truth, identity. They're all rewritten by the crowd. Because when enough people believe a lie, they call it wisdom. When enough people follow a rule, they call it good. You think your path is yours. But how many of your dreams are actually borrowed? So power is shamed. Truth is softened. Genius is diluted. Until the only virtue left is obedience. And you? You're told that rebellion is selfish. That excellence is arrogance. That standing out is wrong. But here's the cost of the herd. You will never be truly free. While you still need their applause. And if you wait for permission to be yourself, you'll wait forever. The herd is safe. The herd is easy. The herd is average. But nothing divine ever came from comfort. And no great soul ever rose by following. So ask yourself, every time you act, is this you? Or is this the crowd? Wearing your voice? You've been told we're all equal. That no one is better. That everyone deserves the same. But here's the part they never say out loud. They don't mean equality of opportunity. They mean equality of outcome. Even if it requires crushing those who rise too far. Nietzsche saw this lie for what it was. Not morality. But resentment dressed in virtue. The herd doesn't want to rise with you. It wants to pull you down. We don't shame mediocrity. We reward it. We call it humble. We call it fair. We call it inclusive. But what we really mean is, don't make us feel small. This is the paradox of modern culture. We celebrate winners, but despise the act of winning. We cheer for icons, but crucify anyone who dares to become one. Nietzsche called this slave morality. A worldview built not on strength, but on envy. When the weak can't rise, they rewrite morality. To shame those who do. We're told to keep our heads down. To not think we're better. To avoid being too much. But what is too much? If not a reminder of what others failed to become? This isn't about ego. It's about fear. The fear that someone else's excellence will expose your apathy. True equality is the freedom to try. False equality is the demand that no one surpass you. One breeds greatness. The other breeds a graveyard of potential. You weren't meant to be equal. You were meant to be free. So let them call you arrogant. Let them label your rise. Their approval was the leash. And now you see it. You've seen the trap. You've walked its halls. You've worn its mask. But now, something stirs. This isn't about rebellion. It's about recognition. The moment you realize the game, was never built for you to win. The system told you to stay in line, to be nice, to be safe, to be realistic. But realistic is just a code word for defeated. You were born with fire, but they trained you to fear your own heat. Every no was a bucket of water. Every rule, a brick in the wall. Until one day, you mistook obedience for identity. But here's what they couldn't erase: your will, your hunger, your primal urge to become. Nietzsche called it the will to power. Not over others, but over yourself. Over the laziness, the fear, the comfort. Will is choosing the mountain over the meadow, the silence over the noise, the truth over their permission. The will to power is not about dominance. It's about direction. It's the refusal to die before you're dead. It is choosing to rise. Not because they said you could, but because something inside you refused to stay small. That thing inside you? It's not ambition. It's memory. The system wants your will subdued. Society wants your fire manageable. But no great soul was ever manageable. You don't need permission to rise. You need remembrance of who you were before they named you, before they trained you, before they tamed you. You were never meant to be average. You were trained to be. Not by villains, not by tyrants, but by systems that reward obedience and punish fire. You weren't broken. You were standardized. They didn't kill your potential. They numbed it, made you question it, made you trade it for acceptance. But deep down, the truth never left you. That you were meant for more. Not in some arrogant, egoic fantasy, but in a quiet, unbearable knowing that the life you're living isn't the one you were designed to live. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us, the greatest danger is not in aiming too high and failing, but in aiming too low and succeeding. The herd will always offer you a seat, but never wings. They'll offer comfort and call it peace. Offer distraction and call it fun. Offer average and call it balance. You don't need to scream. You don't need to fight. You need to wake up. Because awareness is rebellion. And remembering who you are beneath the layers of silence, obedience, and roles is the most dangerous thing you can do. So this is your invitation. Not to rebel, but to return. To your will. To your edge. To your voice. You were not meant to be managed. You were meant to rise.